Good morning. Welcome back to Pages into the Past. I sat down trying to figure out what my next project would be. And because we've got, hopefully, several events coming up, I sat down and I made a list of things that need to be made and when they're due by. Not that I don't have a whole list of projects that I want to do. These are some of them, but these ones kind of have a little bit more of a timeline. So I'm a member of Costume College. I have been for years. And for those who don't know, Costume College is an annual event that, with the exception of the pandemic, that we meet in person. It's 3.5, 4 days of costuming lessons, lectures, classes, and it's for all skill levels. This is non-accredited. This is a convention, but it's a teaching convention, which we absolutely love. So not all the themes of the days have been announced yet. We do know that Saturday Night Gala, the theme is Titanic. And this year, my husband has said that he will come to the gala dinner with me. My mom gave me my grandfather's hat that he wore everywhere until he passed. And it's a captain's hat. And my husband has just enough fur on his face that I thought, well, he could be a captain of the ship. And so I know there's a little controversy in that part of it because, the captain did abandon his own ship. My husband said that he would be very comfortable wearing the hat, not having to shave, and just putting on the suit. And so we are in a hunt for a long enough jacket for him to be able to wear so that I don't have to make another jacket because I'm not 100% confident of my skills. But that means that I do have to make me a dress to wear for Titanic. And so you can see here, I have pulled out pattern books, patterns. This one here, I fell in love with until I realized that it's the wrong year. It is a couple years too early. So I have Sense and Sensibility. I've got Simplicity, I have my Janet Arnold, I've got the Butterick, I even have Laughing Moon, just trying to get an idea of what to make. My thought is toward Titanic, so once I figure out what pattern I'm going to use, I already have fabrics. Now you can see here, we have beautiful lace. The edges are all finished, they're all sparkly, and then you can see that this taffeta is a two-tone taffeta that I think will go really well with this lace. I could go red because, everybody's seen the movie Titanic, but I don't like being part of the same crowd that everybody else. I have 8 or 10 yards of this 60 wide, and I have plenty of lace. I think I bought 5 or 6 yards of that, and it's about 50 wide. And so I've been playing with ideas of how to get that done. As you can see, there's some sparkle there. Yeah, so that's the fabric. Now I just have to figure out the pattern. So I think I've made a decision out of the big stack for my Titanic dress. I'm going to go with this as my base. The changes that I'm going to make to it is a V neckline versus the square, because this is the inspiration dress I'm going to want to do. And the fabrics that I've chosen is going to be a little bit different. I went through my stash and I found this rather unique, shiny polyester crepey stuff that's got a beautiful shine to it. And then with that overlay is going to give me all the fancy sparkle I want. And then I went through more of my stash and I found fringe beads, jet beads. I found a couple different appliques. Don't know if I'm going to use that. I found all kinds of goods. So I think we're going to make a black Titanic dress as an evening outfit. So I'm getting ready to get started. What I'm going to do next is trace out my pattern pieces so I can make my neck adjustments, because that pattern is square, and then pin them to my dress form and do a tester fit. Okay, so looking at the pattern, looking at the picture, the things that I need to change I've taken notes on. I am going to start off with view B as my base. I'm going to start with the sleeves of view A as a half length. because here you can see half length, and then they've added like an extra small gather frill. So I'm going to add that. So my notes are use view A and then add extra. I'm also going to use this pointed train for view B. This is from view A. I'm going to just use that instead of cutting the view B short. So I want a little bit of a train. Then, like I said, I'm going to change the neckline from a square to a V, both front and back. The pattern pieces that are here, I'm going to use this back skirt because it's got this V at the back, or the point at the back, rather than use two, or rather than cut it off. I'm going to just make it a little bit longer. And then the overlays that they have for the skirt here, this has at least three, there's at least 3, maybe 4 layers of lace that go around. So I'm going to adjust mine somewhere in that area. So I'll change this to more of a V, decorate it. But I'm going to use this as the base. I'm going to do this out of mock-up fabric so I can get all of my ideas down and use that for pattern pieces, because I cannot find a pattern that I have in stock to match this silhouette. This one also goes up to a size 26, which is closer to my bust and waist measurement, so less adjustment on this one. So that's where we're going to get started. Laughing Moon 1909 to 1913 day and evening dress. And apparently I bought this pattern used because a lot of the bodice pieces were already cut out. Fortunately, it was on the largest size, so somebody was smart about it, because that makes it 100% usable for anybody else in any size. So when I was looking at the measurements, in the largest size, the bust and waist ratio are not hugely different, because the waist is a little bit more free because it's a high waist. It's a little bit above the natural waist. I think I can just fudge the skirt a little bit. I haven't measured this bottom section yet for waist. The bust line just needs a couple inches added to it, and I'm trying to figure out, and that's in the front, not the back. So I'm trying to figure out the best area to add inches, because if I add inches along the center front, it's going to throw that shoulder seam over a little bit. Now the other thing is that I'm recutting this as to this V. It's going to continue into a V here, and then so that the front and back are a V. And I think my best bet is to make the extra inch, probably add it to this side piece right under this armpit, make it spread open there versus here, versus center front, because we're going to do a V, and because it's not a huge amount and there's only the 2 pieces for the front. I think that adding here, and I'm going to just cut this whole piece and just spread the whole piece, because I need the extra inches probably under my armpit as well. Now if I don't need that and I can tape it back together, then what I will do is I will add piece here and keep that intact there. But when I put it on my dress form, I'm just concerned that that arm's eye is going to be a little small. And being that the sleeve is gathered anyhow, adding that extra little piece might not make a huge difference. The front overlay will also have to be adjusted. And this is a 1 piece. And my thought again is we're going to take this at a V to match the underneath here. So I may have to add here, but this waist is gathered. My bigger concern is the stress across the bodice. So good thing I have scrap fabric, because this is going to be where we start. Okay, so first attempt, not happy with. So I ended up adding several inches here, but I also added an extra 2 inches up front, or an inch on either side of the fold, which is too much. Second problem I have is I want to create a V, and this cuts off too much here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recut this centerpiece and extend it to 3 inches taller, and then I'll cut my V to see if I'm happy with the V shape, to see how that works. All right, so attempt number 2 is better, but I should have gone higher because what I think I want to do is go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece back and freehand cut a piece, kind of drafting it myself. And then what I can do is if it needs more fitting here, I can pull it in, create some darts down here, create that look. So attempt number 2 is a no-go. All right, so here's our neckline that we're trying to get. That's our neckline that we currently have, and this is our bodice. That is fairly okay. My thought is that once you get the lining in, you're going to get a little bit more defined shape, a little bit more structure there. So I think what I'll do is I'll mark my darts here, cut out a back piece, get it all matched up, then I will try it on and then mark my dart, because I think just because it fits on the dress form that way doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit me this way. So I think this is a good start for us to match that top, because this is going to have a lot of lace overlay on it anyhow. So, and being that this is just the mock-up and not the fabric that we're going to use, I think this will work. All right, there's the back. And again, this is going to have lots of sparkly lace overlay, like a lace band here all the way around. I think hook and eye back here will probably be the better way to hook this, so that you get the start of that. Now this is draping, because the pattern that I was using is not what I'm really thrilled with. I kind of had an idea what I wanted it to look like, and we'll keep going. All right, so you can see this is big on me. One thing that I noticed is that the arm's eye is too big in back, so that'll have to be closed. It's really hard fitting yourself, so what I might have to do is I might have to see about roping my mom in to help me fit this, because I'm wondering if, yeah, see that front there? See if I could make that just a little bit smaller. Then it might keep the shoulder from falling off, and then make the back arm's eye smaller. Got to do that before I get any further. Okay, mock-up number 4. I went back to the original pattern because I found this 1912 square neck, slightly off the shoulder, square in the back. I think is a little bit more appropriate, a little closer to a 1912 dress than a movie dress from the movie Titanic. I did another mock-up. I had already made this front smaller, so the front I think I'm really happy with, and the back I did add about an extra inch in the center back, just to give myself a little bit of playroom. It does set the shoulders a little bit further out. So what I did is I took an extra seam here to roll the shoulders a little bit. And part of this, you can see, was definitely needed in certain areas to have that extra width. Now the problem is that my side seams are just slightly off. This is pretty close. So that might just be the way that I sewed it, certain seams, because I also took in this seam here from the arrow up. I had run these on like 3/8 inch, so I took it up to a 5/8, just to give it a little bit more, pull it in just a little bit up front here. The next thing I'm going to do is try to put this on, see if my husband can pin the back so I can see how the fit is before I take it all apart and use it as a pattern for my main fabric. I do kind of like this one because the thoughts on that photo, what they did is they came across down in this area here, and then they did a lot of body cross with a lot of the lace, and they have a piece that goes across the front here So you have a piece here, and then this comes down below that piece. I think I'll be able to use this as the base, and I'm hoping that once I get the base done that the overlays will come together quite easily. So here's hoping. So yesterday, my husband helped me do my fitting, and then I took everything apart, transferred all my markings onto my main fabric, stitched it together, and then I decided to use the fabric that I had started with as interlining. Since the lace is going to go over the top of this, I wanted to keep the seams from fraying because this frays quite well, you know, just like everything else. And then the sleeves are going to be separate, so they'll be part of the lace. And so what I'll do today is I'm going to stitch the rest of this together so that it becomes one piece, because the skirt attaches to the fabric here, and then there's a belt of fabric that goes there as well to cover up where it attaches. And then I'm going to I have the skirt cut out. Like many things, I ran out of fabric for skirting, so I don't know if I'm going to get the train that I wanted. But if I don't get the train that I wanted, I can always add the lace to be a little bit of a train. The problem with that is people step on you and they rip that lace, and so we'll see how that works out. But like I said on the last video, adapt, adjust, and move forward. So that's what we're going to do today. So I thought I'd show you the inside of my sparkle fabric here. It is very soft. What I'm doing is I'm doing a French seam so that I don't have the frayed edge. So this is the skirt. I'm going to stitch that up. I'll probably serge my edges at least at the top to start with, and then hang it on my dress form to see what it looks like. Alright, so you can see how high-waisted this is because the back peaks up, and you can see where the original fabric comes down in this area. So this gets stitched on here, and then the overlay goes over it. What I did is I drew a chalk pencil line, something that I could see as to where the placement was going to be. I matched up my side seams. I matched up the back. There's a placket involved here. So I gave myself a little tuck here, just so that when I sit down, there's a little bit of extra fabric to spread out in the butt area. The dress itself is not super wide, but none of them were. So that's where we've gotten so far. This seems like it's taking forever. It's like 2 days on this bodice. I'm slacking or slowing down. So what I've done is I folded over this little placket. This is where the hooks are going to go. And then this placket here is where the eyes are going to go, so that when it pulls over, it closes shut. Now I'm not going to add those yet because I still have to add lace to the back. But you can see how it's coming along. You can see my line here. I added a placket to the inside back of the skirt. This will hook an eye, and then the skirt will hook separately over the top so that it's like a double layer here. What I'll do is I'll run a small hem in the skirt, and then I will start possibly pulling out the lace to see how that's going to work, because I'm not sure when I'm going to add the skirt yet. I have to look at my picture, and then I have to read these directions. The one thing I did not do is I did not add boning to this. I think I'll be okay. I'll be wearing a corset underneath, and I don't think I need super stiff structure. I hope, but we'll see. Alright, I've cut out just the sleeves, and as you can see, they are very, very, very sparkly, very pretty. I also padded out the hips just a little bit to give more of a curved waist. So I'm going to drape some more lace on here and see how it goes. Look at the picture, it shows this piece here underneath these pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whip stitch this down and then probably put this underneath this overlay because this will be hidden. And then I'll start draping the rest of it, but you can see the start. So I have put her up on the table so that I can better see how the bottom's gonna look. You can see I'm draping everything. Here's the front so far. This right here gets cut off for the sleeves, but you can see how the angle is there. And so my thought at this point in time is get the back done so I know how much fabric I have to fill in this piece here, or do I just keep going this direction? It's going to depend on how much fabric I have left. I'm going to keep on draping, but that's where we're at so far. All right, she's all draped. I have the front and the sides pinned. And the back is pinned. So tomorrow we'll see about tacking all that together and seeing what we can do to finish up the over. And then I'm going to add, of course, more beads, more sparklies, and sleeves. I've used almost every inch of my 5 yards of beaded fabric that I got, but it sure looks pretty from here. All right, so what we're doing now is I have stitched down the lace, and this is free lace right now. So what I did, or it's hanging free, I should say. So what I did is I took a side seam here, and now I'm going to trim it down and French seam this so that the lace edges are all on the inside. There is a overlay in the back which will get snaps, and then here at the waist it'll snap as well, and then these will be tacked ever so slightly so that when you get the train effect, they don't flip back. So trimming as I go, seeing what needs to be done. But this is where we're at, and then once I get that stitched, I'll add the sleeves. I've already cut the holes out. The holes are just, they're temporary holes. I know they're not big enough, but once I get the seams done and I can pin this a little better, I'll get that done. And then the last step will be attaching it here so that it doesn't shift down, so it doesn't fall off the shoulder when putting it on. I want it to stay put, so I will hand stitch parts of it as needed. Ooh, my order came in today. So there's this company, Waywack.com. I ordered on Friday, 2 days ago. Well, it's Monday, so I ordered Friday. And Friday night they sent me a notice. Or did I order Saturday? No, I ordered Friday. And they said They ordered it and they're like, okay, it should be there Monday. Well, it was delivered at lunchtime today, which was totally awesome. They have so many things in this little book. Under retail price. Oh, by the way, I'm not getting paid for promoting them, so this is just my own little share my knowledge to the world. But, you know, like here they've got thimbles with sizes. They have bias tape maker, canned air, thread lubricant, magnets, machine oil. Look at the size of that machine oil. Boy, that would be like more than a lifetime supply. One of my favorite things that I ordered was I got some grommets for my grommet machine, and the grommets were like $6.50 for a gross. And they work with my machine, which is fabulous. They have buttons, they have horsehair braid, they have little buckles, brass clips. They have boning. It's pre-cut, so you can't buy your spiral on a roll, but they've got it pre-cut, and so a 10-inch, quarter-inch wide spiral is fit. If you order more than 12, they're 41 cents each. If you order less than 12, it's 51 cents each. And they have a dozen pack here for $4.79 for 12, and they're fast. I ordered some other things from them, and I ordered like chalks and other items, and they were here in like 2 days. I was so impressed. So unaffiliated, but if you're looking for supplies, give them a look. It's waywack.com, and go online and see if there's anything that you really need. But today I am putting on the snaps for the back here to keep this in place, because this is the under panel. So I'm putting snaps to put them in place. So that's what we're going to try to get done today. It's been a whirlwind of a day. Doctor's appointment, vet visits. My dog got diagnosed today with hyperthyroidism, and this is where I'm going to relieve some stress right now, is I'm going to just put my snaps on so I can just let the world melt away for a few minutes, and I'll go back to worrying about the rest of the world tomorrow. Hopefully the next time you see this, the back will be done and we'll be adding sleeves. Alrighty, we have finished trim edges on the bottom. We have a little bit of trim just up at the neckline here. We have sleeves. And here's the back. At the back there's just a little bit of train. Not a whole lot, because people like to step on me. Knock on wood. I'm done. So next part will be making something for a hairpiece. So we'll see if I can get that done, and then I'll put it all on for you. And hopefully everything is good to go.